Hello. Welcome to, hang on, let me, there we go. Welcome to Tier List Tuesdays, guys. A little bit of an awkward opening, but we got there in the end. But I am here to introduce this lovely show. Today, we are going to be talking about, in honor of the new Superman, we are going to be talking about James Gunn's projects. We're going to be ranking his projects, mainly movies, his directorial efforts, but we did include one show, and I think you all know what that is. But we are here. Enterprising's ready. He is ready. His body is ready. So let's get it started and in here. But I am John. Very, very lovely to see you all once again. I know you're sick of me, though. I know you're really sick of me. That's why I had to bring in my co-host, who needs to. And there he is. Hey, there he is. That we all miss you, Dan. How are you doing on this wonderful Tuesday?
I'm doing good. I am ready to do this ranking. Sorry, guys. I've been tied up with stuff. I set up the shows, but then I wasn't able to. I mean, John just kind of speed ran the show, so I mean, I don't know. But hey,
Let's get
I'm
rid of that
glad
music
we're here.
so we can
We're
hear you.
here doing the tier list. So John, take it away. I know that this was today's tier list Tuesday is actually inspired by you guys, because you guys picked the topics. We put up a poll, you voted on it, and ultimately the winning vote is what we went with. I don't. If you can zoom in on there, John, we can take a look at the options again.
Well, I had to click it. Sorry, I didn't mean to vote, but it was already like that. I didn't, Here we are. So, James Gunn movies. Here we are to do it. But we are here to talk about James Gunn now, but before we do that, we do have to get into the previous week, which would unfortunately, because of a certain Frankie G, fucked up the results. But we are here.
We're going pretty strong, by the way. 30,000 followers, guys. So
this was my personal list, hence why a lot more stuff is in D tier. But the previous list was a little bit more even. But we do have all this now for the So for the most votes, F1 still on top with S tier with 4.
Deservedly
one, because we gotta add a not seen thing with this, because we can't have that again. We can't have seeming that F1 is in D tier. F1 does not belong in D tier. But we do have Superman. Most people voted S tier, but a couple people voted B and C. Then Fantastic Four First Steps was a little bit more even, mostly in A, but a couple in B and one in C. Naked Gun, mainly in S and A, but Frankie G brought it down to a D. Mission Impossible, more even spread, 3 A, B, and C. Frankie G in that D tier. For the most part, Karate Kid was in A tier, but a couple people thought it was C tier. Bad Guys, most of all, pretty even, A and B. And 28 Years Later, kind of even, but with that one person in C tier. Ballerina, for the most part, in B, although one person voted A.
I'm surprised that Final Destination is in C tier because of how many people saw it and liked it this year. I'm surprised that it's so low.
But we'll see when we get there. Thunderbolts, mainly B tier for How to Train Your Dragon, a couple in C tier. Lilo and Stitch, couple in B, one in C. Leo, mainly C, but you did have one other person other than Frankie G voting D tier, so there is that. Then Final Destination, it was mainly C. A couple people A and B, but mostly C tier, and one person in D tier. And then M3 again, just everybody D tier because it sucked, but a couple people thought it was a little bit better. And then same with Jurassic World Rebirth. The average is fucked up because, as we all know.
It's fine. We fixed it though, because today we've got a not seen category. So that way, if you haven't seen the movie, don't put it in like D, just put it in the not seen category. But hey, we got Movie Spud in the chat. We have Steven is here now. Steven, I'm back. Thank you for your welcome back. It is National Vinyl Record Day, but I don't have any other Guardians of the Galaxy soundtracks in vinyl. Well, Movie Spud, you got to work on that. Go get those. Um, yeah, hopeless. I never thought I'd catch this up bugging. Yeah, Steven, me too. But I'm glad that we figured that out. Who else is Great Game Freakness already welcomed you here. Thank you for joining in. I was not eating. Maybe I was doing a little bit of eating, but I was doing mostly working. And then Tony, to answer your question, yes. If you want to quickly, John, go back to the poll. So on the YouTube channel in the community section, where you can post there, and obviously we post there. We actually put up a poll. As you can see, that was 6 days ago. So basically a week ago. It was right after last week's Tier List Tuesday. We put up a poll because I think all the people in the live chat last week gave us ideas. Those were the 4 ideas: the greatest movie cars, the greatest movie car chases, James Gunn movies, and Zack Snyder movies. And then, of course, by a landslide, James Gunn movies won out. So that's what we are ranking today. So John, might as well, get hooked on a feeling and talk about some James Gunn movies. Nelson is here as well. I have to be up early, but I'm finishing this video. You know what? That's awesome, Nelson, and good luck to you tomorrow, whatever you're up to. And then, of course, thank you for swinging by, and we hope that you will get a chance to finish the show in the morning. Enterprising already has voted. So, John, I don't know if you reminded the folks, we have the tier list link in the live chat.
Yes.
You're watching live.
Right here. So
look for it yourself. It's going to be up for basically a week. So you have between now and next week to vote on it. Then we'll go over the votes like we just did for last week's tier list. So with that, guys, let's John, how do you want to get this going? I think usually we kind of talk about the movies first and then we start ranking.
Yes. So we're going to be just talking about them very briefly. We're going to be going in chronological order. So, obviously with that, the first directorial effort, we're not going to be counting web series or small TV series, because I know Tromaville Cafe and PG Porn were up there, but I'm just going to take a wild guess, Dan, that you have not seen either of those. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I wanted to get stuff that people would actually know. So with that, the first thing was Slither. James Gunn's gigantic B movie homage to the creature features of yesteryear. Very interesting little movie, not for the faint of heart, not for the people that get queasy very easily, but it does have plenty mainstays that James Gunn would work with again: Elizabeth Banks, Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion, James Gunn's wife at the time, Jenna Fisher. They would all be in this very interesting little film. But
I'm gonna be honest with you, I had to find a YouTube safe version of an image from this movie, because this thing is it's not easy to look at in some scenes.
Yeah, it's very gross, but like it's very James Gunn. He actually has a cameo in the movie, uncredited cameo. But yeah, this is almost 20 years old. Actually, came out in 2006.
It also goes to show you how much James Gunn has changed as a filmmaker, right? Like, it's been a long time since he was making movies like Slither, right? But obviously his references are still there. Like Superman has a lot of stuff, body horror stuff in there that clearly harkens back to James Gunn's early days. So yeah. Anywho, John,
next thing, his first foray into the superhero genre, again, another very strange and very disgusting film. Speaking of Elliot Page, they were in this movie before they became Elliot Page, and probably in one of the most controversial scenes of the film, but we won't talk about that here. But yeah, this was his first foray. It was mainly, although James Gunn considers this not a superhero movie, it's a vigilante kind of movie. And ironically, he does have a bunch in common with Vigilante, kind of a weirder guy that, there's a lot of Vigilante in this character. But it was popular at the time. It does have, who eventually would appear in the holiday special. Kevin Bacon was in this movie. Liv Tyler was also in this. And then, of course, Dwight Schrute himself. Rainn Wilson was the titular character. So, yeah, very strange, very interesting little movie. But after those two very small budgeted movies, he got an upgrade. James Gunn going from little rinky dink, tiny indie movies to Marvel
Hold that question.
easily. But it's kind of like Kick Ass, but like
Kick-Ass, right? Yeah.
not as I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. By the way,
But
like I know we haven't included it in the list, like the Troma and Tromeo and Juliet. Those movies were made for like less than $1 million, I should say. And James Gunn kind of made his name in his very early career doing those movies. It's just one of those things where they weren't really at the level where I think like most people probably haven't seen them a lot. I mean, I'm not saying nobody has seen it, but like you said, John, those are so far back in his career. I don't even know if they were all theatrically released, because those movies were back in the early '90s and mid '90s.
uh so I mean both Slither and Super were well, his first movie that he worked on as a story writer and I think as an executive producer was Tromeo and Juliet.
Hmm.
And then but his first directorial film was Slither, and he did obviously write Dawn of the Dead, which came out 2 years prior, which was directed by Zack Snyder. But I'm not counting writing stuff because we'd be here all day, so we're sticking with directorial stuff. Next thing, Guardians of the Galaxy speaks for itself. The movie that nobody thought would be a success, and it was the little movie that could and put James Gunn on the map. And one of the brightest stars of
This
Hollywood
was, remember,
currently.
at the time, Guardians of the Galaxy was the single biggest risk Marvel had taken, and the first time they'd gone into like the cosmic part of the MCU. So, and to bring in somebody who was practically an unknown filmmaker at the time for the mainstream audiences, this was, remember, people, because Guardians of the Galaxy were less known than the Suicide Squad. That's how remotely, how remotely familiar those characters were. And all of us, I mean, now you say Guardians, people already know what you're talking about. So yeah, let's keep on
Yeah.
going.
But next up is, well, Guardians 2. Boom, there we go. Having expanding a lot of stuff, doing a lot of great character building, and it just did a lot of things better. Although many people would say this is the weakest of the three.
I
So
think so.
but obviously we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, very interesting little film, but it's still, even the weakest, it's still a great movie. So, there is that. Then next up, after he got fired from Marvel, he's like, fine, I'm gonna get treated better than you shit fucks by the people down the street. So,
That's awesome
you
game
know,
freakness.
so yeah. But yeah, the Suicide Squad, the favorite for many. I think it's certainly an interesting little, and it's certainly a lot better than the first Suicide Squad. That's not saying much, but definitely a lot better. Plus, it introduced the world to Daniela Melchior, and I will always very much thank James Gunn for that. So, you know what? Say what you will about the movie, that little bit right there is always a good thing. So now she just needs to be in not shitty movies like Roadhouse and Fast X. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the COVID pandemic caused this movie to not make much of any money, right? I don't think anybody blames it on the movie's quality itself. So, uh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, you mean the first one figured? Okay, I think we know what you're talking about. Um,
um, I'm so confused. I think they're saying even if it sucks, it's still better than the first.
hmm.
But this is the one, obviously, TV show. I just feel like if this wasn't included, people would get on me for this because a lot of people love Peacemaker, and he did direct like half the season. So I feel like, you know what? I'll include it. I'll include it, even though he didn't direct every episode. I think Jody Hill directed a couple, and then somebody else also directed. So I think you know yeah, I feel like a lot of just people would have loved to seen this. I'm like, let me give
By
them
the way,
that.
when Thunderbolts has the asterisks in their name for the movie, it becomes the New Avengers. For us, the James Gunn, the movie, there's an asterisk in the graphic that ranking every James Gunn movie The asterisk is for Peacemaker because it's technically not a movie, but it's basically an HBO movie. So I mean, there you
Yeah,
go. That's
an
why.
8-hour movie.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it might be 30. Was it 30 minutes per episode? Or was it 45 minutes? 'Cause I know the new season's 45 minutes.
Well, the new one, yeah, the new one has some 35, 37 minute. I forgot, but I mean, I think they were mostly 40 minutes. So
Okay.
yeah.
I forget. Been a while since I watched it. But then next up we have the infamous holiday special where the grand return of Kevin Bacon in a James Gunn project comes in.
As Kevin Bacon.
I've seen a little bit of this and it's very cute. Once Christmas rolls around, I'll finally give this a watch because this was prior to my boycotting of Marvel with Thor 4 more Thor. But yeah,
And MTG
cute little
and
thing.
Figure Drawing.
But yeah, what do you have to say about the holiday special?
I love it. They got Kevin Bacon as Kevin Bacon. It was really underrated. I feel like they did it on the cheap. They clearly shot it around the time they were filming Volume 3, and yeah, I think they can do more of those. Like these kind of holiday
The
specials.
fact that they did it on the cheap
it,
and still got Kevin Bacon is saying a
yeah,
lot.
like,
So
come on. I mean, and it's just James
considering
Gunn's
that the
relationship,
last we saw
right?
of Kevin Bacon in a James Gunn project, his nuts got sliced off. So, he still came back to James Gunn after that. So that's saying something. That's
That's a good question, Game Freakness. We have actually, yes. So we have thought about doing that. We just have to kind of set up the Discord and we can bring people in through
we've
there.
been trying to
So
get that Discord for like
yeah.
a year now. It's harder than it's just like trying to sit down and like get it right. So
yeah, but absolutely, the answer is yes. Coming soon, and keep an eye out. I think we're
coming
also
soon. Asterisk.
we'll have. Well, part of it is going to be when we have memberships, we're up and running. I think that might be part of that too. Just a bonus, so you guys, if you are a member of the channel, you can obviously jump in on the streams and be part of the conversation. So, yeah, but absolutely we will. I think it might be a voice call to begin with, and then we'll see if we want to do video. But the door is open, so it's definitely a possibility. Definitely paid off.
I mean, I've
having
heard
Kevin
the
Bacon in
game
there.
is pretty good. But yeah, then next thing, obviously Guardians 3. Good stuff. The third and final. Yeah, I mean, I've been on Discord a lot. It's just like when it comes to the bots and like that kind of thing that you need for like a big server with a big community like this, that's when it gets kind of tough. So we would love to have that. Try to what's the Oh So Curious handle on Instagram? Is it just Oh So Curious?
It's at O_so_curious. It's like a
okay. So that's usually the best place to reach Dan if you want to talk about Discord stuff. So feel free to do that, Game Freakness. But
that's right there.
Yeah, we would love your help with that. We would love anybody's help with a Discord server. But yeah, Guardians 3, good film, good cap to it all, even though clearly James Gunn had to change a lot after what they did to Gamora in Infinity War and Endgame. But yeah,
every
good stuff.
Christmas special is better than the Star Wars Christmas special. Come on now.
That's not saying much.
By the way, yes, Nightbot is something that I've looked into. And yeah, so we'll thank you.
I know I know Me3, I think that's one. That's another bot that gets used a lot. But yeah, there's also stuff to link like letterboxed stuff. I would have to find something for that. But yeah, what do you have to say about Volume Trace, Dan?
I thought it was my second favorite Guardians movie because it's more emotionally heavy than the other two. And I mean, outside the I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, or actually before that, even he's like, he may have been your father, but he sure ain't your daddy, like whatever the line was. And Michael Rooker just making grown men cry. So I did miss Michael Rooker not being in the
he's Mary Poppins, y'all.
He's Mary Poppins, but yeah, it just yeah, I don't know. It wasn't the best one, but it was also not the worst one. I think it was a little uneven, like they went in a lot of different directions. But yes, the parts with the flashbacks to Rocket's past, I mean, yeah, those were some of the most tear-jerking moments of the MCU to date. And quite frankly, I think
And
the best parts of the movie were those flashbacks. And then you really get to find out how James Gunn is able to take all these story threads and bring it together into, like something that feels like a proper close on a whole book of characters. Because that's something we hadn't seen him do before. I mean, you look at all of his other work, there isn't really a true trilogy there that he wrote and directed. And now I think that will be a good guide for us to see how Superman's story works over time. So I think that's why I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a particularly important movie as well. So knowing who James Gunn is as a filmmaker and how he's evolved over the years.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, they did kill the villain. That deleted scene is not canon, so they definitely 100% killed the Eye Evolutionary. So
They did, yes.
So yeah, but then finally,
Exactly,
boom,
Tony.
new chapter of the DC pantheon. We got Superman. I mean, we have said so much about this goddamn movie. So why don't we just start the tier list now?
There's a shot right there. Now I'll zoom into this.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there
bulge, but
I'm just like, I don't know. Do we need that? Like, because it's sort of like, what function does it serve other than to highlight the fact that Superman's got some padding there potentially to make this movie a little?
I hate to break it to you, but every man on planet Earth has a dick and balls. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to hide that. Like, obviously, like in camera, they're gonna probably do some like cropping out. They're gonna like smooth it down a little bit so we don't see David Corn Sweat's schwanz in our fucking faces all the time. But I'm sorry, it's just like, it's like a woman who has really big breasts, and it's like, she's like, I can't put them anywhere. What do you want me to do? So it's like, it makes sense. Like, if it's like he has a big package, like, I don't know what to really say about that.
And that's what we can say about Superman. So there you go.
I mean, you could tape it down maybe, but like, you can't really do a lot. If you got big titties, you got a big balls, you can't really do a lot. Anyway.
Fair enough. Fair.
But yeah, remember, guys.
Believe in the bulge. Believe in the bulge.
But anyway, let's get this party started.
Tony's already skipping ahead. We've talked about that before. Don't you worry, Tony.
Yes.
I'm sure it will come up again. But let's get into the tier list for today, shall we? Let's do it.
So first things first was Slither. Have you seen this movie? I'm just curious.
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen it all the way through. So I'll lean on you for this.
Recently watched it. I think I watched it maybe like a year ago. I was pleasantly surprised how much I liked it. It's a fucking weird, insane, like this is made for a certain niche audience of horror fan. It's not for everybody. It's very gross, very disgusting, and a lot, but it's, it's rounded out with like likable characters. Like Elizabeth Banks and Nathan Fillion have great chemistry with one another. All the characters you want to see live, well, not all of them do, but a lot of them do, and it's just like, it's weirdly like that, because that's what James Gunn is like kind of weirdly good at. He takes the most provocative and the most endearing and like kind of makes them work in one homogenous story. So yeah, if you have a queasy stomach, if you're if you don't like body horror, don't watch it. Like, if body horror freaks you out, like The Fly or The Thing, don't watch it, because this is very, very gross and it's not for the faint of heart. So yeah. I would say in terms of Slither, I think for me personally, I would probably put it in A tier, because I heavily enjoyed it and I think it's great. It's not perfect. I don't think it's like reaches the pantheon of greatness, but I very much enjoyed it. But it's not for everyone. So if that's like lower, that's under. No. Human Centipede is like, that's not even a movie. That's just gross. This has like an actual story. It's just like some effects might be. It's not even close. That's like nothing and nothing. No way. That's like comparing like Star Wars to Battlefield Earth. It's like no. Nothing like that. But Slither, it's it's kind of like beginning James Gunn, where it's kind of weird and gross and kind of, but also silly.
It's,
And
I mean, it's also got
but
some of his like oldest collaborators. Obviously, Elizabeth Banks you mentioned, but then you also have Nathan Fillion in there. You have
yep,
Michael Rooker in
Michael
there.
Rooker,
So
yep,
like, look at the Nathan Fillion right there. The movie is just from a different time. Like, you wouldn't be able to necessarily connect the dots between what he does today, James Gunn, and what he used to do back then. But it shows you his horror roots. So
yep, because he
Tony,
did
give me a bit
work
of
at with Lloyd Kaufman and Trauma
yeah.
a lot. And Trauma has another movie coming out with Toxic Avenger. I said it's a remake of their first movie. So yeah,
I feel the same about the Fountain of Youth, by the way. So
yeah. We are in Eastern Standard Time, ladies and
yes.
gents. But moving on to the next one. Have you seen Super?
Nope.
Cool. That one's
That's
easy.
another one
Anyway,
too.
next on to the next one. Guardians of the Galaxy. Where would you put this one? Because I did both of those, so why don't you take the reins on this one?
So the very first Guardians of the Galaxy to me is a top 3 Marvel movie, because like I still put actually top 5. I don't know. I feel like, okay, here's my reasoning for this, right? So let me quickly kind of go over and look at it. Look, here's one reason. It turned Chris Pratt from Andy Dwyer in Parks and Rec to basically a sex symbol. I mean, the dude had a 6-pack, and all of a sudden he's hot and handsome. I mean, like, it was crazy. And then it gave Batista his biggest acting role to date. Not to mention, they get A-listers. Like, of course, they got Rocket Raccoon voiced by Bradley Cooper, which of course we know that friendship has led us to getting Jor-El now as Bradley Cooper. So, or Bradley Cooper as Jor-El. Glenn Close was in this movie. You had Dom Toretto voicing Groot. You got Vin Diesel, another A-lister. Dude, it's S tier. I would put it at the top. The best thing about these movies were they completely changed the expectation for what a Marvel movie, what an MCU movie could be, because of how wild and different the first Guardians is, and it's infinitely rewatchable. It's probably still the most rewatchable movie in the MCU. Like, I can watch this movie 3 times in a day, 4 times in a day. Like, moments like who, and like all these other moments. You got, of course, Lee Pace, who was in our Batman fan casting earlier late last week. It's got some of the best stuff, like some of the best scenes, some of the best characters, some of the best VFX. In my opinion, still has the best soundtrack in the MCU. So, I mean, honestly, and the VFX are on top notch. You have a lot of these like cool scenes around Nova. The only thing I wish we got more of was the planet Nova, but I'm sure we'll eventually get that. And even Nebula, you got Karen Gillan. It's an all-star cast. Like, it's crazy how good this movie was. I think people forget sometimes just how big of a deal this movie was in terms of the characters being complete unknowns, and then you have like Zoe Saldana in there, Batista in there. Like, there's A-listers across the board, and anybody who wasn't an A-lister after this movie, there were A-listers. And this movie did something that I don't think any other director could have done with a set of characters that as unknown as the Guardians. And ultimately, it led us to James Gunn becoming at one point a shoo-in to be Kevin Feige's right-hand man. Obviously, things didn't work out, but it was that movie which set the path. I think for me this is S tier. It's S tier.
I'd be willing to put it in S tier. For me, it's like right in between S and A. I think it kind of falls apart in the third act a little bit. Not saying it's like bad or anything, but I think it, like, personally, I don't like the dance off, bro. I'm sorry. I think
I love it.
I think it's too cringy for me. I think it's a little bit too cringy.
Yes.
I don't really I don't hate it. I'm just saying, like, I would say it's like really close to, it's like 9.5. It's not top 5. Definitely top 10. Definitely top 10. I would say not top 5, but it's very, very close. I'd be willing to put it in S tier though. I'd be willing to put it in S tier.
Yes,
but I would put it like, if it was like A plus, I put it in like A plus tier. I put in A plus.
I don't get it, man. But okay, fine. I think for me it's an easy S. I know not everybody's gonna agree.
Now,
but for me, it's an easy S.
For me, an easy S is Volume 2, because that is my favorite MCU movie of all time. That's an easy S tier for me. However, I know not a lot of people like it or prefer it. However, I love Volume 2. I think that the planet ego like is fucking, that's CGI utilized properly. I think
It's
a lot of the
also
character stuff
yeah.
with Chris Pratt and Kurt Russell was so well done. The stuff with Drax and Palm Clemente Mantis was great. The character stuff with Nebula and Gamora, like this is a very character driven movie. Like we got them forming, now it's like how do we develop them? And they do, like Yondu was great, and like there's plenty of like darker emotional moments, like when Sean Gunn was like he killed all my friends. Like that was such like a good like moving scene and so well done. Taser face, like that, all fucking great stuff. It's just like for me, this is like everything right for an MCU movie. Does it maybe have problems? Yeah, but I think it certainly outweighs the problem. I have not seen Shang-Chi or Deadpool 3, so I cannot rate them.
I think
But
Shang-Chi is probably B tier. Well, maybe A tier. I think maybe A tier.
if
Deadpool
if
and
we had to do
Wolverine,
we would have to go by
C tier.
phase, because like doing that is like we'd have to do like phases 1 and 2 and then like 3 and then 3 and then like 4, 5, 6. Too much, but to be fair, I haven't seen most 4, 5, and 6. So that would be on. You'd have to bring Liz on the tier list because that would be to them because I haven't seen most of them.
I mean, I have, so we can talk about it. Yeah, but we can talk about it. Well,
but
you know what? Maybe that could be an option for next week. So, yeah.
But what are your thoughts?
John,
I know you say this is the weakest one. Would you be willing to put it in S tier for little old me, or would you have to say A tier?
I think it's like Enterprising is saying, this movie really did embrace a lot more of the weirdness of the comics, ego, the planet, like the worlds like they show in this movie, and they keep like putting Yondu down through the first part of the movie to then give us the probably one of the best arcs of any character in the history of the MCU. Like I said, grown men cried when he was like, he may have been your father, but you sure were your daddy. It's like Mary Poppins, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. It's like just one of the most iconic. Like that scene when Wolverine dies in Logan, and then when when in Furious 7 when they go their separate ways at the end with the song. I mean, come on now. So and Yash is here. Hello, Yash. Yeah. Also, I mean, James Gunn continued to show like he can diversify with a whole band of actors. You had Elizabeth Debicki in this movie. You had, again, Karen Gillan. You had freaking Kurt Russell in this movie playing Star-Lord's father. Like Star-Lord's parentage is probably more star-studded than any other MCU character. So I think this movie, for me, had some unevenness, but it's like Avengers: Age of Ultron, where it gets better over time. So for
especially
me,
like with what we have now, it's like this looks a hell of a lot better now.
I wish for the days when we would get more Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's like. And then again, they introduced the whole portal traveling system in this movie in a way that didn't even do all that much in the first movie, which we know basically now that's how everybody travels in the MCU, in outer space and stuff. So there's a lot of reasons why these Guardians movies have been just like these mile markers in the MCU. And the second one was another great one. The Yondu scene when he's, directing his arrow all over the bridge of all the traitors. Like it's just... Yeah, A. I mean, for me, A, simply because the first one is so good, but because the soundtrack, I think for me wasn't as good as the first. But yeah, for me, it would be an A. So, what do you think?
For me, it would be an S. Since I gave you an S, would it be okay if I put it in S tier?
Okay, it's fine. I'm willing to take that. Just for that, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all moment. Yeah. By the way, guys, hit that like button. We appreciate it. That definitely helps us out a lot. So. We do appreciate that. Oh yeah, Volume 1 definitely had a lot of Marvel influences. You're right. Ronan was a good villain.
He was okay. I think he was okay.
Yeah. No, well, the villain of the second movie. I mean, like you got Kurt Russell, right? It's.
I think like
It's
I think
come on.
the thing is it's hard to like say like villain wise because he's a famous guy. He's Kurt Russell. But like I think like it
But that's my
works like
point.
very personal for like Chris Pratt, you know?
Right. Like the character of Star-Lord. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Ben
think the
Davis in the
cinematography in that
cinematography. Yeah.
movie was fucking amazing. That like the scene for me is like when Gamora is like sitting in the field and like the little piece of wheat is like annoying her knee and she chops it up. Just that fucking I could frame that and put that on my fucking wall. It was fucking
Like I
beautiful.
think
Like that
Yash,
was
what
a
you're talking about, you
beautiful
can
looking movie.
like what Yash is saying, I think is referring to how it felt more comic booky, those visuals, than the first movie.
Yeah, and I'm
Right?
not
Because like the first
complaining.
movie, no, not at all. I mean, the first movie felt more like the color grade was more the house style of Marvel. The second movie
Yeah.
definitely sort of like just
But the
did
second
like
one
James
felt
Gunn
more
did his
like
thing.
James Gunn doing whatever he wanted to
Yeah,
do. He had more leniency in
yeah.
regards to that.
Actually, and Elite Easy, to your point about the Ronin actor, Lee Pace, he was part of our Batman fan casting. So if you haven't seen that yet, we did that on Fridays on the channel, the definitive
Hmm.
Batman fan casting for the DCU. Lee Pace is in the list, so go check him out because we would love to see him in the DCU, quite frankly, maybe as Batman. But anyway, back to the movies, shall we, John? Because after Guardians 2, um, well, James Gunn took a bit of a detour in his career and ended up over at DC somehow, was offered Superman, said, no, thank you for now. How about I try Suicide Squad? And then he was asked, well, actually, he asked, like, hey, um, what do you want me to, like, who can I keep and, who can I get rid of from the first movie? And they told him, do whatever you want, basically. You can keep whoever you want. You don't have to bring anybody back. If you bring Margot Robbie back, sure, that'd be great. But if not, then that's fine. You can do your own thing. And then James Gunn basically did that exactly. And then the worst part about this movie for me is they killed Rick Flag, like justice for Rick Flag.
But like,
Outside of that,
here's
this
the
movie was
thing.
great.
Here's where I know people are like, "Oh, they killed Captain Boomerang, they killed Rick Flag," but it's like the whole tagline of the movie is "Don't get too attached." That's the whole point of.
I
That's
also
what's so good.
Boomerang.
That's
I
what I
mean, but
partly
like I
love
did get
about this movie.
attached.
The one of the bigger things I
I
like
don't
about
know.
this movie
Yeah, I
is
don't know.
it lives up to the fucking name. People actually die in this movie, unlike the first Suicide Squad where nobody died. So it's like they're not a Suicide Squad because none of them fucking died. Good.
Well,
Fuck
we don't know
Margot
yet if
Robbie.
Margot
Fuck
Robbie's
Harley
done as
Quinn.
Harley. We don't know
Anyway,
that yet. But yeah.
um,
They
but
they killed the entire team's worth of Suicide Squad in
yeah,
this movie
Michael
in the
Rooker.
first act. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, John,
So
where would you put it?
I like. Don't get me wrong. I like a lot about this movie, but I feel like it does have more of that stupid James Gunn humor I don't like, which was also accentuated in Peacemaker. So for me, I think it's a good movie, but it should have been a great movie if like they tweaked a couple things. For instance, I don't like I like the whole thing with Bloods. It just even though Will Smith is an asshole and all that shit, and but it's just like they essentially just do the same shit again with Idris Elba. It's just like it's Will Smith and his daughter again, but with a different actor because Will Smith didn't want to come back because he's an asshole. So it's like, okay, so they're doing this thing with his daughter and it doesn't fucking work at all. So there's that. Again, a lot of the humor is weird again. The middle is a little slow and it's a good movie. Um, but it's not like this amazing, oh my god, fucking like greatest DCEU movie of all time. I never got that. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's an entertaining movie, but it's not a perfect movie. If I had to rank it anywhere, I'd probably put it in like solid B tier. Like it's a solid B movie. I don't know where you would put it, but for me, I think it's a good movie.
I'm okay with that. I think B is good for me. It works. It's definitely yeah. I think I'm good with that.
Okay. Do you want to explain why or
Yeah, no, I mean, I I actually enjoy watching the first Suicide Squad more than the second one, even though I think technically speaking, from a storytelling perspective, the Suicide Squad is the better movie. Again, I'm kind of biased because I had fun with the first one, and I wish Will Smith had come back, but Will Smith being Will Smith is fine. but the Suicide Squad was a great movie by itself. I just like there was too much gratuitous violence at some points. Although I love Polka
I
Dot
didn't mind
Man's
that.
story, I loved his backstory, all the moments with him. Ratcatcher 2 was great. Sly Stallone as what was the name of his character?
And
And well,
King
that's not
Shark.
his King Shark. I mean, he's gonna be back in Creature Commandos, but like, no, the characters were great. I just, again, I'm biased figure drawing because I didn't want Rick Flag to die. I did not want Boomerang to die. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, well, I know that, but the thing is, they literally just copy pasted the daughter stuff, but it's inverted now. Okay, I don't care. And Storm Reed was a little shit who I didn't fucking care about, and Bloodsport was a character I didn't terribly care about that much either. And it's
I
just
mean, Lead Easy making a good point though.
no, but it's just like it's the same thing but inverted. It's just like, oh, instead of loving his daughter, he hates his daughter. And then the whole thing of like, oh, that's my dad at the end of the movie. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Because like he does one thing, he's like years of trauma and bad parenting, poof, gone. It's like, the fuck are you talking about, you little shit? What the fuck? I think the Suicide Squad has plenty of fun. Plus, it's got my boy Peter Capaldi in it. I think it does have plenty of funny moments, but it's just like it's burdened by early trauma, James Gunn, and I don't like. Sometimes it can work, but most of the time it doesn't for me, and I just think it's a little bit too like gross humor wise. Not saying that the first one had good humor either. Like that also sucked, but like it's just like I want like Idris Elba should have been Bronze Tiger. I said this from the beginning. He should have fucking been Bronze Tiger. That should have been the dynamic because that's what it was rumored as, and that's what should have worked, and that's what it should have been instead of just Deadshot but shitty. That's kind of what it was. I know it was supposed to be Will Smith. That's the problem, but it's just like don't just give us Diet Deadshot because you couldn't get the guy you wanted back. Like that's stupid. Just do something new, do something interesting. It's a fun movie, but it's not a great movie. It's a fun movie, like a solid like 7.5 out of 10. Like it's fun. It's not great.
I think this was a great audition for James Gunn with DC. It was also clearly like carte blanche with the budget. Well, not really the budget, but just creatively just do whatever the hell you want. Because James Gunn was one of the most sought after filmmakers for that brief period of time. He was a free agent, and then they just DC was like, okay, well, Warner Brothers went in. They were like, we need to get this guy on our roster and give him. They were willing to give him Superman, and ultimately, he did get Superman, but like not before making what for a lot of people is still a good movie. Like I think it's a pretty gosh darn good movie, John. So,
Yeah.
but not his best work. So I think B is a good place to be. So,
yeah. Now we move on to Peacemaker. And for me, I'd probably put it in C tier. This is probably the weakest project I've seen from James Gunn. He doubles down on all of the humor I hated from the Suicide Squad, and it's tenfold. Like, I will say I like something like I like Vigilante, even though he is a complete bastardization of his comic book character. I like some of the character stuff in this. I think John Cena is like always funny, even with bad material. He can make things
wait, you
funny.
can see him? I don't. Who are you talking about?
Anyway, but I think it's just like I think it has a decent story, decent character stuff, but it's overall not incredibly.
We do not encourage violence on this show. But,
it's not incredibly great or anything. It's an okay show. Like it's like C, maybe B. Like if I'm being nice, like I would say like C plus. Like it's not like for me. It's just like I think B is just too high. But like I'd be like if other people liked it, I'd be willing to put it in B. But it's just like it's kind of B, kind of C. It just kind of gets worse for me as time goes on. Like I remember I watched a supercut of Vigilante. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember liking Vigilante, and like I was like fast forwarding through half the video. I'm like, damn, I forgot how fucking unfunny and cringy this show was. But yeah, I mean, I'm still excited for season 2. Hopefully, James Gunn doesn't do some of the worst stuff with this show. But yeah, for me, it's like C, B, BC.
I mean, well, look, here's the thing, Yash, by the way. Everybody's opinion is their own, right? So like somebody can really love it, somebody can really hate it. It's fine.
That is like so fucking wrong. It's like not even funny.
I don't
First of all,
think the
Watchmen.
Watchmen show is
Yeah,
better than the
no,
Penguin.
dog shit. Penguin, great. Peacemaker, nah. I would say like Legion is up there, Daredevil is up there. Those are Legion, Daredevil, probably the Penguin are probably my top 3. Although Superman and Lois is probably up there as well. Those are probably top 3. I would say Penguin's top 5. Yeah, but Peacemaker kind of mid. Oops.
Yeah. I personally think it's probably B tier. I think it's in the same tier as the Suicide Squad. I don't know, John. Where did you say?
I'd be willing to put it in B.
Yeah, I think it's B tier. I mean, which like if Penguin is a S tier, then yeah, B tier makes sense. So
I watched
12 rounds. That's
Watchmen, and I'm like, I'm good.
Speaking
I'm okay.
of a movie that had Robert, Patrick in it, and John Cena, younger John Cena in 12 rounds. What was that? That was like his second or third movie ever when WWE Studios was a thing. Anyway, yeah, he had one emotion at the time. He was looking angry. So 1A that like button, please. Peacemaker is D tier for Elite Easy. Figure drawing saying you missed out. I mean, look, a lot of people do love the shit out of Peacemaker, so I do appreciate that. I just think for John and I, it was just a tier below because it wasn't necessarily that it was objectively a bad show. I think it's the brand of humor and sometimes what we got for the story. So
the thing is, it's just like because it's a drama. The thing is, a comedy show has to be funny, and for the most part, Peacemaker wasn't. So didn't really
but
care.
Also, like humor doesn't hit everybody the same way. So I'll say that.
So subjective, and it's just like for me, it's just like that frat boy humor. I don't really care for. I have not seen Romeo and Juliet, but again, that's the style of James Gunn. I don't really like James Gunn's PG porn and Tromaville Cafe, like all that stuff he did really early on in this career. I'm not a huge fan of.
Yes, it was.
Because it's just like he was, it just seems kind of bland to me. From what I have seen of Watchmen, I did not like it, and I saw a lot of the later episodes. Like I saw bits and pieces of the and it's just like that Dr. Manhattan reveal. When I saw that clip, I was laughing so hard I was crying with how horrendously awful that looked. I understand it's a TV budget, but like that's bad. That's really fucking bad. Like bro looked like Mandark without the hair and blue. It was so fucking bad. Again, I try to watch this stuff and it's just like it doesn't hit for me, and sorry, but
it's fine. But you know what, we gotta move on. So the next thing we're gonna talk about now, John, is we gotta move into talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Well, that's all you because I haven't seen this.
To me, this is one of the best things James Gunn has done, and it's one of the most underrated things. It's not a full movie, obviously, but I mean, it works on so many levels. The fact that you lean into the craziness of these are two aliens. The once upon a time, said.
I'm just saying. I'm sorry. One thing with Watchmen, the fact there's an actual line in the show that's "I eat white supremacists for breakfast." I'm like, come on, you can't win with that kind of fucking dialogue, guys. Come the fuck on. Like that's something that should be in like a bad parody of a comic book show. Like Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry. I just needed to get that out. Anywho, continue, please.
I loved it. Guardians of the Galaxy, holiday special. It's heartwarming. Like you can watch this every year, have fun with it. It's simple enough. Even though it's kind of tied into like the story of where the Guardians were at the time, it feels sort of timeless in a lot of ways because it's more just like a day in the life of the Guardians in between all their adventures. So I really love seeing this, and it was a fun opportunity for them to kind of pull this off in between filming the last Guardians movie. So. Yeah, I loved it. I thought this was probably the best holiday special Disney has ever produced. It's certainly better than any of their other franchises, aka Star Wars. So it's Christmas gold, like MTG said. So keeping in mind though, it is still a holiday special. I would say for me, for me, it's A tier because I laughed so hard with every scene that Kevin Bacon was in. I would put it in S tier if it was that good and it was a full movie, but it's not a full movie. So, yeah, exactly. And Mantis being Peter's sister was confirmed in there, which was a big reveal. Of course, they kind of like did the reveal again in the movie because not everybody saw the special on Disney Plus. But yeah, Mantis and Star-Lord, and also just you get to see Peter is really depressed in it. So there was some character development. You get to see Drax in a light that we haven't. Or I guess we had seen him in that light, but just kind of expanding his role because he's usually one of the side characters. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So
Cool.
With that, though, John, now we're going to move into James Gunn's final Marvel project to date, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What did you think about this one?
I think for me, this is the weakest out of the three, because outside of the rocket stuff, it's it's fine. The rocket stuff is the glue that holds this movie together because it's kind of a mess, and you can tell that James Gunn this is not what he wanted to do with these characters, but he had to because he got fired, and then they did Infinity War and Gamora fucking died, so he had to work with what he had, and you can definitely feel that in the blueprint of this movie. I love Will Poulter. The man is a really good actor. The man has come a long way from the swollen nuts from We're the Millers. Don't get me wrong, love that movie, but he's come a long way as an actor. But here he was so painfully unfunny, and you could tell that that's why James Gunn doesn't want to do post-credit scenes, because he had to promise Adam Warlock, and you could tell that he really didn't want to do the character here, and we had to suffer through a very mediocre Will Poulter performance, because again it was so cringy. And oh my god, the scene with the fucking microphones, you have to press this button for this, it's just Jesus Christ, fucking shoot me. I was quaking in my chair from the cringe. It was just, I like how they have their Guardians outfits, and the rocket stuff was great. A couple things with Chris Pratt. Peter was pretty good. So I think he was unfunny for a reason. Okay, cool. It still sucked because it was bad. And then that
was good. That was really good. Yes, agreed.
I think the stuff with Drax, Nebula, and Mantis, I don't even remember them being in this movie all that much. Like, they were there, I guess. You had the stuff with the end of Drax being the butt of the joke, and then he's like, I know this one thing that could help us, and then it's just like, okay, you're still a joke of a character. They didn't really do anything with it. It's just I don't know. I think
agreed. Enterprising.
It just felt so messy to me. It's still a good movie. It's still a very good movie, considering that this is the only trilogy that Marvel has delivered that has been where every movie has been quality. Is saying something. So even then, even with its multitude of problems, I still think it's an overall engaging movie. When the High Evolutionary isn't screaming his head off, that was really good. I really liked
grandfather,
because his father was Captain America. Civil War sucked. I didn't like Civil War.
I thought Civil War was really good. I mean, that's your opinion, John, but I thought Civil War was Captain America's trilogy is one of the best trilogies in the MCU too. So.
But yeah, I think
that was funny to Game Freakness.
Well,
Gamora wasn't so much annoying. I think it's just the fact that the continuity is not there. You can't watch the 3 Guardians movies without addressing the what happens in Endgame, Infinity War, because
it was an Infinity War, because it's like, what did you lose? Everything, and then he's sitting looking at the sunset and blah blah blah.
Because I think without the 2 Avengers movies, it just feels incomplete, because all of a sudden, Nebula is a completely different person, because she is a different person. So, yeah, and then Nebula holding everybody together, while Gamora is just not it's just,
But I think you meant no one on Earth.
No one, yeah.
It's fine. It's just typo. I typo all the time. But yeah, I really yes, we can agree on something. Woohoo! For me, the best parts about Civil War were Black Panther and Spider-Man, and that was it. The rest can go garbage. But yeah, but that's a whole nother mess for another day. But yeah, I think this is the weakest, but it's still like a solid movie. So I put it in like B tier. I put it in B tier. I think it's a good movie, but it felt weak in a lot of areas to me personally.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with B tier.
I put it in between these two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and then finally
we should
Superman.
do an MCU ranking. God darn. I mean, gosh darn. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about the whole like the story with Star-Lord
it's
is
just like
really
you can kind of
heartbreaking,
understand where he's coming
but
from because he knew a different version, and it's not
Yes.
easy to just turn those feelings off when you had a literal entire relationship with someone who was technically different. But he did learn that in the end. He did let her go. And what I also didn't like, another thing I fucking hated about this movie, was the fake outs, because they were always teasing someone that somebody was gonna die, and then nobody did. It's like, I could have done without the 17 fake outs. Like, come on, brosifs, you could have done that.
Which I think is more annoying for people who went into the movie knowing that was like part of like the subtext. But for the average fan, I don't think people would have cared much at all.
Yeah.
Angelica's here. Hello, Angelica. How are you doing?
We only did directing films.
Directing,
yes.
James. Right.
And
so
one show.
Yes. But hello and welcome on in. Hit the like button, anybody, if you guys are watching live or after the fact. We appreciate that. So, John, with that, we put the third Guardians movie, Volume 3, in B tier. So now it comes down to the big kahuna.
S for Superman. I think we've talked about this movie extensively, but I know I liked it more than you, so I'd be willing to put it in A if you don't like, because I know you didn't like it as much as I did. So I'd be willing to put it in A, but I'm just saying.
Bane is just doing Star-Lord dirty in the chat. Anyway, okay, Superman, B tier for Yash. Tony saying B tier, S for Movie Spud, S, of course, for Enterprising. Superman is not in any way, shape, or form an S, according to Figure Drawing.
You like fucking Civil War. Get the fuck out of here, Figure Drawing.
Come on. Okay, so John, how would you justify? You said S, right? Like you just said
I
straight
think
up S. Nothing to be said other than S.
It's one of those movies that I feel like just gets better with every watch. I think it's
Angelica.
The thing is, there's a lot of the thing is, Yash, for me, I understand. Like it's sometimes it's too fast paced for a lot of people, and that's fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but for you personally, but for me, there's a lot of mannerisms and little moments that make this. It's not like you don't have to grind the movie to a halt to like do character motivation and development. That's the biggest problem I have in movies.
No, but I don't think it ever, like, there's plenty of movies where they have good character development moments that don't feel like the movie all of a sudden ground to a halt. I think it's completely fair that this movie kicks into high gear, like it's already at 150 miles per hour in the first minute, and it rarely lets up. There's only a few moments here and there. They're sort of fleeting. I mean, ultimately, to me, that was the only thing that bothered me. And quite frankly, like you said, John, like it's the more you watch the movie, the more you know what to expect, and therefore it doesn't bother you as much. Like that, these scenes which just
the thing is,
keep
there's
rolling and
there's not
stops.
one way to do a movie, and that's what's good about it, because Yash, if it was just Spider-Man 2 again, it would be generic. Okay, if it was like Spider-Man 2, people would complain that it's like, oh, this is too much like Spider-Man 2. It sucks. Because the thing is, you're never going to win. You're never going to win. No matter how they did this movie, people were going to fucking hate it. And the fact that he did it the way that they did it was interesting because it was unique. Because the thing is, like, I understand you want to see human moments. You want to see Clark Kent moments. I get that. But remember, what's the title of the movie called? Superman. It's not Clark Kent. We want to see Superman, So I understand, like, feels like, even though it is kind of a restrained James Gunn, it still feels like James Gunn Superman. He's not doing a checklist of what the fans want to see. He's like, no, this is how I want it to do.
That actually worked well.
I respect that as well. in addition to that. So I will say the Jor-El stuff is a little dodgy, and it does have some editing and pacing problems. Even in a third rewatch, you can kind of see that. But for me, it just gets better and better as time goes on. For me, I started out
Agreed.
as like an 8.5 when the first time I saw it, and now it's up to a 9.5. Like it's more of a it's plot
point higher.
driven, but
Yeah.
metaphorical, but it does have character stuff. It's not like it's like kind of like an in between of a progressive arc and a flat arc. Like Superman improves a little bit, but it's also has attributes of a flat arc because there is because I don't know if anybody here knows what a flat arc is, but a flat arc is when the main character doesn't develop, but the people around him do. That's what like Paddington 2. That is a great example of a flat arc. Paddington doesn't go on this big emotional development journey, but the people around him do, and that's where the movie succeeds. Is because the people are affected by Superman. Like, sure, I'm sure Terrific says it would piss off Green Lantern, but I think deep within himself, he's like, it's because of Superman. Jimmy Olsen improves. He accepts Eve for who she is for all this, like, and then there's the stuff with Lois Lane
Absolutely.
giving into that relationship and wanting to be with him. And then there's like this whole thing of like just the people around him improving, except Lex Luthor, because fuck Lex Luthor. 1A. And then you have Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho is another one. The entire Justice Gang, like now becoming more true blue heroes and saying fuck all to the consequences when they go to Jarhanpur to save the people of Jarhanpur because they improve because of Superman. So it's not like the character stuff isn't there. So it's clearly there. It's just subtle and nuanced. So, fucking Paddington in Peru, Paddington 2, Paddington, absolute cinema.
Yeah.
But
I understand what you're saying, Game Freakness, but I think James Gunn has kind of talked about how he's tired of, showing origin stories, but also he's not a big fan of doing those flashbacks. I think James Gunn hasn't been known for doing those non-linear stories like Christopher Nolan. So, I think it's a movie making style. Like you won't get
Lex
everything in
Luthor
every
is like
Superman movie,
is bad
so,
and stays bad. That's the whole.
yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Actually, on the DC Daily Show. So if you want to, if you rewind into that show from earlier in the evening, it feels a little rushed. But I think Warner Brothers want to strike while the iron is hot. I still feel like if they left it in theaters a bit longer, it might have made more money. But I mean, I understand that it's dropping off. But that's the world we live in, and Warner Brothers are ultimately still.
Well, clearly it is subtle because like all of the character shit you missed, you didn't see because it was subtle enough for you not to fucking notice. So obviously pay attention a little bit more. But that's what I see. It's just like I see all these people affected by what Superman does, and then like how he learns to be more one with his humanity and all of that. And does it have problems? Yeah, it's not a perfect movie, but I think what it manages to achieve brings the kindness and hope back to the people. That's what James Gunn was trying to do. And I think that's what makes this movie work. And I really loved it. So I would personally put it in S tier, but I would settle for A if, that's what you would prefer. I never said it was, Yash. I didn't, out of this entire fucking thing, I didn't say that was subtle. Like, all right, whatever. Clearly just one ear out the other. All right, okay. I gave you like 17 fucking examples. Did you not listen this entire fucking time? Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Don't settle, John. Don't settle. Don't settle. Anyway.
I will not. But like, I know you didn't love it as much as I do. So if you want to put it in A, I still think it's an A movie. I think it's better than an A movie.
Yeah.
But
I think for me it is a solid A, not an S yet, because again, I feel like when you're comparing it to those other Guardians movies, it's an A plus. It's not an S. It's not an all timer for me. I think that's what an S tier movie is. Like, so John
No,
is
I'm
not
turning
is
into a much better Pixar movie. No, I'm
Dude,
just
it was
kidding.
a
I don't
great
know.
movie. It was an Oscar nominated movie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
By Enterprising. I don't know. I never saw it. I'm just making a bad joke. Anyway, but I
I mean,
personally would put it
yeah.
in S tier. I would say it's probably actually. Hold on. No, not D tier. Well, okay. Now I have.
I mean, I also understand the whole. I think Game Freakness is making a good point that the last Man of Steel movie, the last Superman origin story was 12 years ago, and so there's a lot of people. There's a whole generation of kids who haven't seen an origin story from Superman. But I also understand that Man of Steel doesn't exist in a vacuum. Like people can go and watch them. A lot of people are aware of
And why are you
movies
saying
even though they came
peace
out before them.
Enterprising? I'm
So
so confused.
I think it was telling you to calm down, basically. Or trying to say it in a nicer way than calm down, John.
Superman the movie. Hello.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for me, The Dark Knight, Logan, the first of it. Well, actually, no. Okay, The Dark Knight, Logan, Winter Soldier, the first Guardians movie,
I wouldn't say
Black
I love Winter
Panther.
Soldier. Even I wouldn't say it's S tier.
No, I think it is S tier. And then I would definitely put the Dark. I would even. I think I would put Batman Begins in there. Superman the movie from 1978.
For me, it's
Yeah.
I mean, there's for me, like S tier, like Shazam is up there for me. I would say Logan, Dark Knight, maybe it's been a while since I've seen it, so I'd have to rewatch it. But Superman the movie, yeah, those, and then there's also animated movies.
It's awesome.
But yeah,
That's a cool name, man. And do you think Superman will earn money in digital? The Batman earned 50 million on digital, right? Yeah. So Swastika, that's a great question. By the way, can you zoom into this tier list, John? We're gonna go through this one more time before we finish up. But I think
well, we can
Superman
put
will
it
make
in
plenty
the
of money,
we could put
but
it
I
in
don't know
here.
if it's gonna make. I don't know if Superman is gonna make as much money on digital as the Batman did, because again, Superman is not as popular a character as Batman. But I wouldn't put it past the movie to make close to or around 50 million. Again, though, it feels a little early for them to put it out on digital. I feel like they should have waited until September, because F1 isn't out yet on digital, and F1 came out a couple of weeks before Superman did, and Jurassic World actually came out a week before and is going to be on digital like half a week later. So there's just I think for me it's a little early, but if it's gonna whether it's gonna make money or not, it's gonna make money. I don't know if it's gonna make the Batman money, Swastik. So that's just my guess right now. I mean, that's my educated guess right now. So you know what? That's actually a good point, Game Freakness. When we get the Discord server up, we can have these conversations. So don't you worry, it's on the way. Logan, I thought was Elite Easy. It's the best Marvel movie ever made. Fox, MCU, otherwise. So I know that you don't.
Oh
agree
yeah,
with
I
that,
would put
but
X2 and Days of Future Past. Those probably would be next tier as well.
X2 maybe. I don't know so much about Days of Future Past, but yeah, Superman will do good on streaming. I have no doubt. I'm just saying, compared to the Batman, I don't know if it's going to do as well as that. So, yeah, I think Superman is on the list of the best comic book movies since Endgame, easily. Actually, I don't know if it's best two. Top five for me, yes. Best two, maybe not. Thor Ragnarok, yeah, love that movie. But I mean, hey, today we're not talking about anything other than the James Gunn. Well, we are. We do, some side quests, but largely though, Angelica, I think this is a good point though, because for next week we need a topic, and maybe what we should do is maybe we should rank Marvel movies. Maybe we should do just phases of the MCU, or maybe we should do Marvel trilogies. Ranking the Thor trilogy, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. That would be a good option, I think. So you guys let us know if that's something you'd like for us to do next week. But John, walk us through
I
the
would
votes.
say First Class is definitely A tier. Yes.
walk us through
That's
the votes that
definitely
we did for the tier list. And then I know this is a live poll. You guys have the link for this in the YouTube live chat. So you can click through it.
Yes.
You have another 6 hours and 21 minutes. The countdown's on. So you can vote for
Yeah.
this until next week's show, and then we'll go over the final votes. But as of right now, John, walk us through our tally and then
Yeah.
the votes that are in as of now. So let's do it.
So the first Guardians of the Galaxy is S tier, and everybody agreed, always S tier. And then Guardians 2, even though I love it, S tier. Some people didn't love it as much, which is fair. I understand people think that's a weaker movie, but I love it. But so 2A and not 1A, but 2A and 1B. And then Slither, most people haven't seen it. We were the one people that would put it in A tier, but a couple people voted B tier. The holiday special, pretty even. So I have not seen it personally, but most people S tier, A tier, B tier. And then Superman, for the most part, S and A tier. Suicide Squad, more in the middle, A, B, and C. Peacemaker, A and B. Guardians, most people did S tier, and then A and B, and then Super, most people have not seen it, and 1 and B. But for the most votes, most things are in S tier. Nothing in C tier and nothing in D tier. It's mostly, Guardians, Superman, Guardians 3, Guardians 2, Guardians Holiday Special. Every like major superhero thing without Suicide Squad is in this. Then you have Peacemaker in A and Suicide Squad in A, and then Slither in B. And then the average vote, it's a little bit more even. But I mean, that's kind of, can't really put Super in D tier, but I understand why it does that, because we think not, because the poll thinks not seen is lesser than D, so I understand why it did that, but that's not really the case here. But for average vote, Guardians and Superman remain S tier, and then Guardians 2 and 3 are in A, with Peacemaker in A. Gross. Holiday Special and the Suicide Squad remain in B, and then Slither goes down to C. But again, that's because of the not seen thing. So even in the end, the not seen still doesn't make us win. So,
Hey, Superman and Guardians of the Galaxy. Looks like that's, if you're going off the average vote, those are the two most popular, the highest ranked of the bunch. Not surprised. Peacemaker is up there pretty high. It looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, the Suicide Squad, kind of on the lower end of all his modern movies. But none of the Guardians movies, notice, are any lower than A tier. That kind of consistency is rare these days, or ever, quite frankly, for the MCU with their directors. So Angelica coming in saying for her, Slither is a B. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it just depends, and again, on how the movie hit you, right? So, and if you haven't already, you feel free to hit the link in the live chat and go vote, and maybe that will pull the numbers up for the movie that you want to talk about. Hey, Alien Earth, actually, you know what? Speaking of which, John, you started watching season 1, episode 1. I think you're gonna, once you finish watching both episodes, you'll be reviewing it on the show. So we'll let you guys know when that happens, whether that's 2 episodes together or just 1 episode at a time. But John is gonna be watching. I'm sure you're gonna be finishing watching the episode you started earlier. So yeah, we're on top of that. But hey, okay, the last thing we got to do, John, before we finish up, is we got to talk about just to pitch you guys, we need 4 options right now for what we should do for Tier List Tuesday next week. And here's what we've got so far. I picked out some of the ideas you guys were pitching earlier in the chat. So right now we have MCU trilogies, best superhero movies since Avengers Endgame, and then there's 2 empty slots. So of those 2 empty slots, what would you like to put down in there? Let us know, because today, of course, we did, the man in charge of the DCU, James Gunn, directed movies. What would you like to see?
A week late, belated for his birthday, but that's
all right.
That's okay.
It's okay. You guys voted for it. It was from you guys. Batman movies. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good one. John, do you want to do that?
No, because I'm gonna get fucking murdered. So no, I'm not doing Batman films.
Actually, Game Freakness, we do stream on Twitch. If you go and look for Oh So Curious on Twitch, we are streaming there right now. We stream simultaneously on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. So
TikTok banned us because we were too cool for them.
You're gonna get slated for it? Is that what you just said for Batman? Okay, I'm actually gonna put it in there because I just think it's too good of an idea to pass up for a tier list. But
I'm not gonna do that episode because I'm gonna get fucking murdered, and preferably, I don't want to get murdered for that.
What's releasing this week? Nobody 2 is releasing this week. What's the other movie that's releasing with Nobody 2? Do you remember, John?
No clue. I only care about Nobody 2.
Really? Well, actually, Liz is seeing them, so let's take a quick
Yeah,
look.
I mean, Nobody 2 looks like pure cinema, so,
Shin Godzilla is getting a re-release. Jimmy and Stiz, Nobody 2, Witchboard.
Highest to Lowest is coming out
Highest
this
to Lowest
week.
is. Yep.
Oh.
That's also coming out this week.
Don't care.
A24. So
I'll watch the original in honor of that. Apparently Red Sonja was released.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's the thing though, Figure Drawing, because I think a lot of people haven't seen all the animated movies, so I think that'd be hard to do because not everybody can take part, but that's a good idea. Maybe like a member special down the road. I think Nobody 2 is releasing. Yes, it is. Absolutely. It is. I think the first one was great, so I don't mind it. And Highest to Lowest, I'm willing to give it a shot. You know what? Liz, I'm sure, would be happy to do it. So yeah, we will definitely get into it. All right. Well, with that, guys, Highest to Lowest. It's releasing from A24. So do go check it out. Nobody 2 and Americana is another one. So all right, well, with that, guys, we've got a few options picked out for next week. Bass, we will talk about it on tomorrow's show. I'm sure the conversation will continue. I think there's many reasons. We actually had a really good conversation about it on yesterday's show, where we talked about both Fantastic Four and Superman, all the reasons why they aren't doing as well as movies from 10, 12 years ago in the superhero genre. So
actually, Yash, y'all are going to make a decision because Dan is going to put up a poll tonight, and you all are going to see what the next tier list Tuesday will be. So on you guys, on you. Yep. I need to cut my fingernails, but it's on you.
We will be doing that, Game Freakness. Thank you for the suggestion. We will do that. I think for the most part, we get a lot more people watching on YouTube. That's why we focus on YouTube, but we will be expanding there. So
yes, we know. Yash, you vocalize a little bit too loudly, but
yeah, it's all good.
Anyway,
well, we'll be back tomorrow with another fantastic, hopefully super amazing show, and Liz will be on, I'll be on, and then John, we are doing a Fancasting Friday. So Fancast Friday, currently the poll is not up yet, but I do have options. So I'll be putting up a poll not only for next week's Tier List Tuesday tomorrow, but also for Fancast Friday. So be sure to check out the community post section and then vote on those, because then you guys get to decide what we're doing on Friday's show for Fancast Friday, and then on next Tuesday for Tier List Tuesday. So until then, John, tell the people what they need to do.
You need to like, you need to comment, you need to subscribe, and you need to click the notification bell so you know when we go live.
All right. And with that, since this is a James Gunn movie special, don't forget to look up. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka.
Fuck Jeff Snyder.
He debunked his own rumor. Wow.